Hello everyone, I'm Chase at Rocky Mountain ATV, giving you a closer look at the Corsair-X helmet coming from Arai. Alright, so today we're giving you a closer look at the Corsair-X helmet coming from Arai. So the Corsair-X, this is Arai's premium flagship race-built helmet. This is built for the racetrack. Yes, you could buy this helmet to be a day of the commuter and then take it to the racetrack with you on the weekends, but where this helmet is going to be the happiest is in that tuck position, flying down the racetrack at super high speeds. Now when it comes to Arai, if you're not too familiar with them, well, there's a couple facts that I really like about Arai. It's a Japanese company, it's family owned, privately held. They've been making helmets for a very long time. And what I love is that all their shells are hand laid, so their quality control, you could argue, is second to none. And as we go through and we talk about the features when it comes to the shell construction and just how this helmet is put together, you will see why this is a premium helmet and why you're making that investment. But before we dive in and we talk about those features, let's talk about fitment real quick. So with the Corsair-X, I've tried it on. Fitment for me, medium oval head shape, so it's gonna fit true to size. I really like the comfort of this helmet. They have the EcoPure liner on the inside, which is very comfortable. Also, something that I really like that Arai does that not many companies do is they have 5 different shell sizes in this helmet. That's gonna help keep a better fitment depending on the size of the rider's head. Also, that's gonna help keep the helmet a little bit lighter for those smaller head sizes. And also something unique is that when we talk about the cheek pads in the helmet liner here in a little bit, you will see that even the cheek pads in the liner, they are adjustable. You can actually customize those to get even a better fitment. And on top of that, if you buy this helmet, if you're not quite happy with the fitment of the liner or the cheek pads, Arai has interchangeable cheek pads of different thicknesses that you can buy to make sure that you customize the fit and get it exactly how you want it. But remember, this is an apparel item, which means if you buy this helmet or any helmet that we sell at Rocky Mountain, if you're not happy with the size or fitment, take advantage of our fit guarantee, which means you can send it back in brand new, unused condition. We want to make sure you get the fit and the size that you are looking for, and that is why we give you free shipping both ways on your first exchange. So if we turn around, we look here, give you a little 360 view. What's something that Arai is very known for, very round shell shape. I'll talk a little bit more about that here in just a minute, but you're gonna see you're gonna be DOT and SNELL certified, and you're gonna have a lot of cool colorways that Arai does offer with this helmet. So let's talk about the shell. And to do that, I'm gonna move this over and bring this up. This is a shell after it's been hand laid right out of the factory. You can see it's raw, you still don't have the vents that are gonna be cut out. But let's talk about this shell, because like I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of cool features that are built into this. So first up, let's just talk about how it's constructed. What Arai uses is called their complex laminate construction. So what that means is you have multiple hand-laid layers that make up this helmet. So by making it hand-laid, one, you have very good quality control, and the fabrics that they use are going to be much, much stronger than just fiberglass. So you're getting a very rigid, very strong shell construction. But the shell is what they call their PB-SNC2 shield. So the PB stands for peripheral belted. So if you look at the eye port here in the brow area, you will notice that if you got this extra layer of material going across the entire brow. Now the reason for that, obviously whenever you take a round shape and you cut it off, the weakest point is going to be where you cut it. So to help reinforce that headband area, you've got that peripheral belt going across the top, that's going to add some rigidity, also add some strength there. Then when you talk about SNC, that stands for structural net composite. So when you look at the inside here, you're going to see you've got this net looking material on the inside. So the purpose for that net is it goes between the layers, and what it does, it strengthens the bond between those laminate layers that you have in the helmet, which is going to increase the strength and the rigidity of the shell. And also by using that structural net, it also allows them to use a little bit less material, which is going to help lighten up the helmet. Now on the scale, not going to be the lightest helmet that is out there, but what Arai does purposely is they get the center of gravity to be as low as possible. That way it does feel lighter when you're wearing it, so it's not going to cause as much fatigue to the rider as you're riding. Now the last feature I do want to touch on, or actually 2 more, is their R75 shell shape. So you notice here with the Arai, something that they're known for, very round shell design that is done by purpose. So what that means is that for the most part, across this entire helmet, you're going to have a continuous radius curve of at least 75 millimeters. And the purpose for that is 2 things. One, Arai says that a rounder shell shape is going to help make it stronger, but also in the event of a crash, a rider goes down, what they want is for this helmet to glance off of objects. So without having any exaggerated or lines that really protrude out. That's going to reduce the risk of the helmet possibly snagging or grabbing on something and adding any additional angular or rotational forces to the rider's head or to the neck. So it's pretty unique that Arai does that. So again, R75 shell shape. And lastly, when we talk about those hand-laid layers, what's cool, like I mentioned earlier, you have 5 different shells. So because you have 5 different shells, well, the makeup of those layers is going to be a little bit different because the strength and rigidity of, say, an extra large shell isn't going to be the same as a small. So they actually lay the fibers just a little bit different and make sure that you're going to get the right strength and rigidity depending on the shell size that you are using. So like I mentioned, a lot of cool technology that just goes into their shell, very unique, a lot of things that no other companies are doing. So that's their shell. Now let's go back to the main helmet here. So let's talk about venting. So with this, you're going to see, you're going to have this mouth vent here on the front. This is going to actuate, so you're going to be able to open and close this. You do have multiple positions there. Now, something also unique, before we talk about the shield, I want to show you. So you'll notice here that the mechanism to pop up the shield lives here right on the left side. If I just pop this up once, there's actually a second tab on that mechanism to pop the shield up. So when you saw me do that, I'll actually push it down and do it one more time. Pop it, you're going to see there's a second little tab there. Because that second tab is there, that way you can barely have the face shield cracked, but it's still going to stay locked down. So you're getting a little bit more airflow through without the fear of having that visor or that shield getting blown up by the wind. So it's a pretty cool mechanism. But you've got your mouth vent there, then you look at the top here. You got 3 vents that live on the top of the helmet. You got your first here, you're going to have multiple positions on this top vent. And then you're going to have your 2 diffusers going down the side here. So with these diffusers, again, you're going to have multiple positions. You actually have 3. You have closed, you have partially open, and then you're going to have all the way open. So you've got 2 of those here. And then you can notice here, if we look at the back, that's going to run that air through, but then you're going to have exhaust vents right here on the top. So with these exhaust vents, the way you control those, you've actually got these little tabs here underneath the diffusers on the back. Again, 3 different positions. So you got fully closed, partially open, and then all the way open. And the holes for those vents and those diffusers is actually going to be 10 millimeters. And when you get a closer look at the helmet, you can actually see those underneath the helmet and how you're closing those off and opening those up. And then you're going to have the spoiler here. So this spoiler, again, this is going to be adjustable for different speeds. You might want to have this up so you can actually pop that up, a couple different positions. To lower it back down, you actually press forward, then it just pops right back down. So very simple to do. So that is your venting scheme. There are a couple more vents on the inside, kind of difficult to see, so I'll show you those when we actually pop the EcoPure liner out. But now let's talk about the shield. So with that shield, remember I told you, the mechanism to pop it up lives right here on the left side. So once you've done that, now you can actually just pop the shield up. But before we do that, you've actually got some vents right here on the shield. So this shield's going to come pin lock ready. An extra pin lock lens does come included if you're not too familiar with the pin lock system. Well, it is a separate lens that you install on the inside. Kind of creates a dual pane lens. So think of like your house windows. That's a really good system when it comes to combating fog. In fact, I think it's one of the best that is out there. So again, that pin lock lens is going to come included, but you still have these vents on the top, which are going to help promote airflow and also help combat fogging even more. So once you have that mechanism up, again, you can lift the shield up. Very simple to do. You're going to have a couple detents there. Now let's talk about switching out the shield. So what they have is called their VAS system. It's variable axis system. And I really like it. It makes it very simple to interchange a shield. So if you pick this up with a clear shield, you want to get a tinted shield, you want to swap it out, very simple to do. I'm going to walk you through it right now. So with the shield up, if you turn it to the side here, you've got these little black tabs. So the shield has to be all the way up for these to work. But what you're going to do is you're just going to take your thumb, press those in. I'll do it from this angle, give you a better view. And that's just going to pop those side pods off. So I'll do it here to the other side. Press in here. And they pop right off. The nice thing about having those tethers on those pods, you don't have to worry about those falling off or losing those. But once you have those up, so you'll notice here, first I want to show you, when I pop this shield down, do you see how this mechanism works? See how it doesn't just go straight down and pivot at a single point, but it actually sucks this back and up, which is going to give you a better, tighter seal going around the entire face shield. So you're going to have this gasket you see going around the eye port. So again, as that comes down, it pulls it back and up. It's going to give you a really good seal. So I like this mechanism. But now, how do you swap out the shield? Well, just like I showed you when you pop those pods off on the side, again, you're just going to press here. And when I do that, you see this little gold piece here, that lives in a groove. When you press this in, it pulls that little gold piece and it pops it out. So you're going to do that here on both sides. Do it here. And then once you've done that, all you're going to do is just start to rotate the shield down just a little bit. And when it gets to a certain point, the shield pops right off. So very simple to do. So again, if you're interchanging shields, they've made it easy for you. Now to put it back on, same process, you're just going to repeat it. So I'm going to bring it down, turn it sideways so you can see a little bit better. So you're gonna go about halfway down, pop in the gold pieces here. A little bit more difficult from this angle, but you get the point. Once you've done that, bring it all the way back up the top. There you go. So you literally just saw me remove and put the shield back on. Took me about 20 seconds, very simple. And then to put those side pods on, you need to have the shield all the way up, where you're just gonna take these, and those pop right on in just a few seconds. Very simple to do. So props to Arai for making a mechanism and a system that allows you to do that so simply. So that's the outside of the helmet. Now let's take a look at the inside here. Grab my neck roll, it's on this side. So pop the shield open, make it a little bit easier for me. So when we look at it, you're gonna have your traditional D-ring here, so I'm gonna undo that. So this helmet will come included with a chin skirt. So if you want to, this is removable. So the way you're gonna remove this actually, you're just gonna pull it kind of out and sideways, not gonna come just straight out, something that Arai's done with their liners. So you're gonna pull it. So there it is, take a little bit of muscle, don't worry, but it's gonna pop right out. So with that chin skirt, a little bit cooler temperatures, you can put this on. That's just gonna help minimize the air coming in, help keep the ride a little bit warmer. But you can see, pretty simple to remove, but also what's cool is that Arai also has what you could even call a chin spoiler. So on the inside here, you can see that, very easy. You can literally just grab it, pull forward, it's gonna pull it down. You actually do have a couple locations for that. So if you don't have the chin skirt in, but you still wanna block some of that wind, you can actually just use their chin spoiler, very easy to do. Now with that, next thing you're gonna notice, emergency cheek pad removal system. So you have these bright orange poles here. So you're just gonna pull those out. These are in case a rider goes down. If a first responder or an EMT service needs to get the cheek pads out as easily as possible without moving the rider's head, what you do is you just take these and you're just gonna pull down and forward, and that is gonna help pop the cheek pads out a little bit easier. So very simple to do. So now I'm just gonna continue taking these out, and you'll notice as I pull this out, that you wanna be careful the first time taking these out because the neck roll, you can see, and the cheek pad, they are integrated. So don't just rip this thing out and potentially tear this. So make sure to take your time, but we're just gonna pop it out here. All right, so there is my one cheek pad. I'll pop this other one out. All right, so there is my second cheek pad. Now real quick, I wanna show you here. So like I mentioned, this is their Eco Pure liner, so it's very comfortable, moisture wicking. If you're gonna wash these, they say not to just throw them in the washing machine like you can with some other helmet liners. You're gonna wanna hand wash these and let them dry. So something that Arai recommends. You can see, you've got that contoured shape, so it's gonna help fit the shape of the rider's face nicely. And what I like about their cheek pads, you can see down here along the bottom, it really kind of curves and wraps down and up. That way it's gonna fit the jawline well, so it's gonna give a nice secure fit to the rider. And then, as I mentioned earlier, when it comes to those cheek pads, I mentioned they're customizable. So if I pull this liner back, first thing you notice here, right on the outside, 20 millimeter, so that is the thickness of this cheek pad. Like I mentioned, Arai offers different cheek pads for different thicknesses. But when we look here, you're gonna notice, you've got this piece of gray here sitting on top of that yellow. This piece you can see is just lightly glued on, so as a rider, if you wanna adjust that fit, you can actually take this piece and pull it off, and you're gonna make your cheek pad be a little bit more narrow if you do have a little bit wider of a face. So again, that's gonna be customizable. So those are your cheek pads. Now with the neck roll, to take this out, it's very important. There is a little tab that clicks in on the back here, so you don't wanna try and pull the neck roll just straight out. Instead, you're actually just gonna rotate it. It pops out very easily. You can see on the back here, you do have some venting on the bottom of the neck roll, help pull some of that warm air out using that negative pressure. And then you've got your comfort liner. So comfort liner's gonna have a couple snaps. Pop that out. And there is the rest. Now, last thing I do want to show you. So the comfort liner, just like with the cheek pads, again, you can remove these temple pads right here. Do you see those? Again, lightly glued on, so make sure when you're taking these off, do it gently. Don't just rip them off, because you can put these back on. If you take them off, realize you don't like the fit better than before, just put those back on, you're gonna be good to go. But again, customizable, pretty unique. And also, you'll notice in the back here, with this liner system, you can see you have adjustability, so you can actually adjust the fit of just the liner itself using these little tabs right here. So you could actually pull those through a little bit more or bring them back. Again, just to adjust where that liner is gonna sit inside the helmet. Every rider's head shape is gonna be a little bit different. That's gonna allow you to give even more adjustability to that. So the last one we'll talk about when we look at the inside here, you are going to notice that you've got the one-piece multi-density EPS liner on the inside. If you're not sure what EPS stands for, it's expanded polystyrene. Yes, we see EPS in a lot of helmets, but there's something unique that Arai does with theirs. So let me talk about it. Here it is. This is what a helmet liner from Arai looks like. But what's unique here? So what Arai does with their EPS liner is they actually customize and put different densities in different locations to ensure that you're gonna get the right density depending on where it sits in the helmet. For example, with the headband area, we already talked about it with the shell, you have that peripheral belt. Well, because that area of the head is more likely to take the impact, it's also not gonna allow you to have as much EPS liner there, so they make it a little bit more dense here in the front. But as I work my way up and start to pinch this, it progressively gets softer. So they change the density depending on where they need it, but then if you go to the back of the helmet again, it's gonna be a little bit firmer to help support those impacts at the back of the helmet again, where you're not gonna be able to have as much EPS liner, and the same is gonna go for the side as well. And also what's very unique, just like with that helmet shell, or with the shell of the helmet, you remember how I talked about they customize it for different shell sizes? Well, same thing goes for the EPS liner. So every EPS liner is custom made depending on the shell size. And that is it. That is the Corsair-X helmet coming from Arai. Again, you're all in here. This is their flagship race-bred helmet. So if that's what you're in the market for, this is definitely one that you would want to consider. If you guys have any other questions or comments about this, leave those below. We'll get your questions answered. And to pick yours up, it's very simple. Just click on the link or head over to RockyMountainATVMC.com. Do not forget, orders over $75 ship free. If you guys like this product spotlight, well, we got a whole lot more just like them, so make sure to get subscribed to our YouTube channel, and that way you do not miss out and you stay up to date. I am Chase. We'll see you on the trails.